Welcome to your 2027 Supreme Aire walkthrough on a 4129 floor plan. So if you come up to the front driver's seat, we'll start at the dash.
All right, we'll start over here on the door panel. The controls up here on the top are your door lock and unlock. And then your window, power windows, open and close here for the driver and the passenger. And then with the key on, this switch here is for the mirror heat. Keep the ice and frost melted off your exterior mirrors. And then this would be the directional adjustment for your mirror. This switch up here selects whether you're going to adjust the driver side or the passenger side. And then once that's selected and it's red, you can use the directional arrows to move the mirrors up, down, or sideways. Right up here, we have an air horn. Just pull down on this to activate the air horn. Starting at the lower driver's side dash here, you have your ignition switch, and you can turn it on to accessory mode or go ahead and crank it all the way over to start the engine. Right in the center is where it's off, and you can remove the key. Right above it is the headlight switch, so you can turn the marker lights on or the headlights, and then you can also pull the switch just slightly to turn on the fog lights. Right beside the steering wheel is a lever that you can release, and it allows you to adjust the steering wheel position. Then once you have it in the position you want it, you can just push the lever back up to lock it in place. On your steering wheel here, there are some controls. Resume, set, and cancel for your cruise control. There's a back button and a picture-in-picture icon here, and we'll show you what that does here in a minute. And then you have a ICC flash. When you first come into the coach and you first turn your ignition on, you may get some messages here that you'll have to acknowledge. You can do that by clicking the center here of this switch, and then your gauges come up clear. On this side here, we have your buttons for Bluetooth calling, and we have your volume up and down buttons for the infotainment center, and a mute button. So on this side of the steering wheel, we have another switch cluster, and it's your answer and hang up for your hands-free calling if you're connected via Bluetooth with your phone. You also have a volume up and down button for your infotainment center and a mute. This center button is a select button, and you have a back button here. This center button here is going to the infotainment center. This one on this side is going to the dash cluster. On the left-hand steering wheel stalk, you have your wiper controls and your wiper wash controls. You can wash by pushing it in. You can set the speeds of the wiper by rotating this dial here in the center, and then you can control your bright lights by moving the lever forward and backward. On the right hand side of the steering column, you have another stalk, and that is your transmission gear shift select right here in the center. You can put it into drive or reverse or neutral. You also have the control for your engine brake, and that is controlled by the position that you have the stalk in, going up and down. You can also select here on the end here, you can select whether you want the transmission to shift manually or automatic. And then if you have it in manual, you can shift the gears by using the paddle. On your center dash cluster, you have your chassis battery voltage displaying over here on the left. Have the outside temperature and the time. In the center, you would have your miles per hour and your RPM gauge. You can go into the menu and change these from miles per hour to kilometers per hour if you need to. Here on the left side, you have your oil temperature, and you also have your turbo boost. Then underneath that, you have your fuel gauge and your DEF fluid. Fuel gauge has the fuel pump right beside it, and the DEF one has the, looks like, exhaust icon beside it. You have your tripometer, also displays your miles per hour digitally, and then you have the indicator here showing you what gear you're in. Your park brake icon is there as well. If your park brake is set, you can see that it goes out when you put your foot on the brake and release the parking brake. And then on the right hand side of the dash, you have your 2 air tank indicators with the pressure showing in each tank. Moving over here to your infotainment center, you have your on-off button here in the center. It's a touch screen, so you can use the icons to go to the home page, where you can select whether you want to look at gauges, cab features, or chassis information. So kind of go through gauges here first. Once you get in there, there's gauges and gauges too, so there are different gauges that show up. You can look at whatever gauge you wish to look at. Go back to the home screen. On the cab, you can set digital switches, alarm clock, and you can also go into system settings where you can change the language and the units. That's where I was telling you could change miles per hour to kilometers if you wanted, right there, just like that. Go into the language, set whatever language you want up on the screen as well. We'll go over here into settings. You can click the icon for settings, go into system settings, language, units, system settings. That was that. Go into connectivity. That's where you can set up your Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or your device manager here, where you go in to connect a new phone to the system. We can select chassis, and that's where we can go in and see our tire pressure monitoring system, get all the readouts for each tire. We can also go in to see axles, and we can see if those are locked together with your switches here. You can go into system maintenance and reset your engine oil intervals, and also see what's needed. Diagnostics will take you into software, if there's software updates, and active driver alerts will give you notices. They're likely the same notices that might come up on your center of your gauge here when you first start it up. Right now it's showing the windshield washer fluid's low, so we want to fill that up. The star button here would be your favorites button. You can set up your favorites, balance out your sound on your infotainment center here in the equalizer, set your bass and treble, go ahead and do your balance right and left, and then you can turn your auto volume adjustment on or off. That's where whatever you're doing through your infotainment center, if you're listening to music, it increases as your speed increases. Kind of a nice feature. Turn the display off there as well. These buttons here will change the channel on your radio. This one here is another, like a shortcut button to gauges, similar to, it gets you to the same place as if you were at home and hit the gauges. Same way with the cab. The cab takes you to the stuff that's in the cab area instead of going through that way. Then this would be the same with the one that's chassis here. So you can keep scrolling through here and get all your alerts, your information on oil levels, oil life, filter status, transmission health, your tire pressure monitoring system, what's going on with your axles, and then your reset for your engine oil and your engine oil maintenance indicator. This one here will take you into exterior lighting or into interior lighting and allow you to make adjustments for like how bright or dim you want the step well lighting. And then exterior lighting would be if there's cab lights on the outside. The exterior lighting on our coach here is not used. This here is a shortcut to your devices, and if to connect a device, kind of takes you the same way in, just a shortcut of how we went in before off of the touch screen. The music icon shortcut to get you to the radio screen where you can select AM, FM, WX, or you can do your presets here, your preset stations. You can search, get your list of current stations, and you can also go into settings. And then these are your volume up and down buttons that you can use, as well as the volume buttons on the steering wheel. Do the same thing, just personal preference on which ones you use.
So we're at this instrument cluster here, starting from the left. If your engine would happen to go into limp mode, you could override the engine from shutting down by hitting this override button. And that just gives you a few seconds to get off the highway because your engine won't be powering up enough to move. Just hit that. That'll give you a few seconds to move your coach off the highway or road. This next button over is the footwell lighting, on and off. The next one over is utility light, on and off. And before you would travel, you can use the light test. That's for all of the lights on the outside of the coach. If you press that, it will test those lights, turn signals, brakes, and they will light up and they will go through a sequence so you can make sure that they're all working. The next one over is your emergency flashers. You can see they're on now. Press it again to turn them off. The automatic traction control, you can turn that off right here. If you turn off the automatic traction control, the wheels will possibly spin. If you leave it on, then that icon goes away. The lane departure warning, which is LDW, can be turned on and off here if you don't want to be warned when your coach is changing lanes. And you also have a hill assist aid. So if you're going, like the icon shows, if you're going up a hill and you don't want the coach to roll back a little bit between the time that you release the brake pedal to put the gas on, just press this and leave it on. That way it's not going to roll back while you're going up a hill and at a stop, because you obviously don't want to go backwards into the person or vehicle behind you. So that would be hill assist aid off. And then of course the regen. You can turn it off here, and that's just a momentary off, and then it's back on. The two buttons here at the bottom say, the first one is diff or differential lock, so we can lock the differential, and that helps with traction issues. If we have one side of the rear drive tire spinning, we can turn that on and it locks. When it's off, the light's off. And if you're going to connect a trailer to the hitch in the rear, you can drop the air out of the rear axle. The airbags will deflate, and then you'll see that the rear end goes down. You can hear it, and actually you can feel that going down when I press that to lower. To air it back up, then after your coach is connected to your trailer, turn that down, and then of course you have to start your engine and let it air back up. So the cluster right above the ones here are your courtesy lights, on and off, your generator, start and stop. To start the generator, just press and hold. You'll hear the generator come on. While it's flashing, it's priming and preheating. And then once the generator starts, you'll hear it. When you're finished operating the generator, just press down to stop. The house battery boost to chassis can be made if, let's say, you went to start your engine with the key on and the batteries are dead. You would just hit the battery boost button for about 30 seconds to a minute and then go ahead and start your engine. That connects the house batteries to the chassis batteries for a boost. And then of course our docking lights here, the exterior docking lights on and off. And we have our power outlet here for 12 volt. So here at the center dash area, we have the rear camera screen. It can be adjusted for brighter or dimmer. It can also be set for brightness up and down here. And then you can set contrast up and down as well. This camera will come on when you're in reverse. It will show the rear camera. When you're turning left, the left camera will come on to show the left lane, and when you turn your signal on to signal to the right, it will show the right camera screen.
All right, looking at the driver and passenger chairs in the Supreme Aire, they're both the same, so we're going to go over one set of controls. But these controls here are for the lumbar, and there's 3 different positions of lumbar support, and you can increase the pressure on the lumbar by pushing them up, or decrease the pressure by pushing them down. Right above that, we have a selector here for seat heat or seat cooling, and then we have right beside it the level of low, medium, or high for each of those functions, and then off is in the center. The next lever here, this increases the pressure and the height on the whole seat, so you can lower the seat or raise the seat. Down below here, there's a lever that you can release to rotate the seat, but to rotate the seat around, you're going to have to take this center adjustment here in the front and move it forward enough to get enough clearance to rotate the seat around so you don't scrape the back of the plastic pieces and the door. To adjust the armrest on these seats, you can hear they click. You can put it all the way up, and then it'll come down all the way, and you just can adjust them up one click at a time to the position that you like. If you get it too far, just raise it all the way up and lower it back down. You can start over. If you just want them up out of the way, simply store them up there. This lever here on the side releases the back so that you can adjust the back, and then when you release it, it locks it in place. So this lever here, you release it, it will allow you to change the tilt of the seat base. This one here, if you release it, it will allow you to slide the seat base forward or backward. On the far left is a lever. It is the horizontal isolator. You can choose whether or not you want your seat to be able to move forward and backward. This bar here, if you pull it up, it will release the seat so that you can move it forwards or backwards. You can rotate it around, and when it gets in the forward position, it will lock in place. You do want to make sure that you have these seats in a position. There's a lot of adjustments on here, and you don't want to have it adjusted to the point where it would rub on anything back here. Same with when you're rotating it around. If you want to rotate it around, you want to get it in a position and jockey it around so that it will rotate without damaging the fabric when you rotate it.
Okay, so we're at the front bunk area here, and we wanted to show you these controls when you're in this area for the light and the upper shade. And once we put the bunk down, we'll show you how that operates. But that is the light, and then the shade is for shade here in the front. So we'll bring the bunk down and show you that. So the bunk is in the fold up position now, and the air shocks on both sides are holding it up. To bring it down, just reach up here and pull down. And then this is the cushion. That is the sky window. This is the shade switch going in the up direction. And now it's fully retracted. To put the ladder in place, there's first a strap. You have to loosen that strap up, and then each one of these extensions has a release. After you open it and connect it and use the ladder, so to retract the ladder, each step has its own retract lever. Just close. Now it's fully retracted, and you can clip it back together. Lock it in place, and then you can store it up here. There's a privacy shade here. If you want to close that, you can pull the privacy shade down here. Retract it, just pull up and release. So we're in the living room now, and we're going to go through this area. Above, you've got your storage, your audio-visual cabinet. There are labels for your AB switch, which includes satellite and ground unit satellite, and you switch between those two with the switch here. That's called your AB switch. The cables that are included are both labeled source for your Blu-ray and then satellite source. And you have more storage beside that cabinet on the bottom. We have storage on both sides of the fireplace. The fireplace has its own remote control. To turn it on and off is just press and aim towards the top. And then you have your settings to change the temperature or the flame or colors. And then when you're finished, you just press the top button again and it turns off.
We can lift that TV cabinet by using one of the switches. Go to home, go to TV lift, press the up button. The TV lift will come up and stop automatically. At that point, we'll use the Samsung remote to turn the TV on. Once we have the TV on, we need to choose what we're going to watch. Obviously, if you're going to watch satellite, you would do that selection on there. But if you're going to watch Aire TV, we're going to show you how to program that. You use your remote and go into the setup for channel programming, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay, so the TV, every time that you go to a new location, you will need to go in and go to your setup menu, and you will have to rescan for channels. We'll hit the source button here. We'll get this screen here. We'll scroll over to the settings icon, and we'll select that. We'll then scroll over to all settings. We're going to be in the picture menu here, and we're going to choose to go down to broadcasting. Once we get into broadcasting, we're going to scroll over to auto program. We're going to select that. It's going to ask you if you want to start, and you're going to select start. Then you have to answer one more question. Do you want to scan for both cable and air channels, air only, or cable only? The way that your TV is set up and wired through the antenna, if you choose both, you're only going to get one station. You're not station. You're only going to get one choice of air or cable, whichever one you're hooked up to and you're set up for. So, if you want to do air, you need to come over here and make sure that your Winegard TV antenna is turned on. When that is powered on, that is a signal booster. And when it is powered off, it transfers part cable through. If you're connected to part cable, it will transfer that through to the TV. Okay, we've gotten over here to the auto program, and we're ready to start searching for air antenna channels, because we now have the Winegard antenna turned on. So we're going to search that. We'll go through its program here. We're set up today outside with this coach, so it's going to give us channels. And as it finds them, it will start populating how many channels it's found. Okay, so the search was successful. It found 39 channels. We're going to go ahead and close that, and then we'll be able to exit out of programming menu and watch TV. So at this point, you'll be able to just scroll through your channels that it picked up that were preset. If you have part cable available and you want to scan for part cable, we're basically going to do the same thing, with the exception of we're going to come up here and turn off the Winegard TV antenna. We're going to power it off. Okay. And you can see that it killed our signal, our over-the-air signal. So we're going to go down again, and we're going to go to the settings. Scroll over to all settings again, select it, Go down to broadcasting, select it, go to auto program, select it. We're going to start auto program, and then this time instead of choosing air, we're going to go down and choose cable. Now, we are not connected to part cable, so it's not going to find any channels, but this is showing you how you would do that. So it'll go through the scanning process, looking for channels, and then if you're hooked up to cable and you have a good signal, it will populate how many cable channels it has found for you. You'll be able to then scroll through those just like you did on the air channels. Just remember, this has to be done every time you change locations. Your digital over-the-air channels will change, and so will your cable channels if you go to a different park that has cable available. Good? All right. We're going to go ahead and stop this scan because it's not going to find any channels. And we're going to close out of that. You'll also be able to choose other sources if you're connected to them, such as if you put a Blu-ray or a DVD player in your overhead cabinet, then and it's hooked up, you can choose that and watch that on the TV as well. Gives you a brief rundown of the TV, how to set up for channels. Remember, you'll have to do this for each TV. To store the TV lift, just press the TV lift down button and release it. It will store. It is important that you travel with this TV in the lowered position.
Moving over into the kitchen area, we have an overhead space above the microwave. It's a Samsung microwave. The handle to open and close is here on the right-hand side. Below that, you've got your covers over the true induction cooktop. On the back side of each cover is a cutting board, so you can flip those over and use those as a cutting board. The cooktop will show that it's coming on with the lights, but it actually needs a pan that's steel type, so it's a magnetic type induction. And if you try to turn it on without a pan, it just goes out like that. So even if you turn it on and you would adjust the temperature up or down, it will just turn off. So that's what is happening now. You can take the whole cooktop out. It's portable. You just grab a hold of the sides and lift. And then you can unplug it here. And you can take it outside or wherever. To put the cooktop back in, just plug it in first. And lower it back in place, and then you can put your covers back in. And below the cooktop, we have our drawer. Inside this top drawer are your extra set of keys remote controls. These are the Bose speaker controls. More television remotes. Girard awning controls. Touch-up paint. A sofa baton control. And extra set of keys. And your dishwasher accessory parts for your Fisher Paykel dishwasher, and the exterior wrench for your whole house filter, and we'll show you how that works a little bit later. And this is the dishwasher, the Fisher Paykel dishwasher. More storage here. The plug for the microwave is here. More storage with a drawer that pulls out above here. And we have your Freightliner operator's manual, driver's maintenance manual. Paint codes are included here. More storage. This touch panel does the same thing as the touch panels located at the other areas inside the coach. Whenever you press the home screen, that's the main screen where you would select any one of those, climate through TV lifts, lights. It will go to sleep after about a minute, but just touch it again to wake it up. These are the sink covers. The sink covers can be removed and stored down below. The sink is telescoping, so you can pull that out and telescope, and turning it on and off, and then hot and cold. The sink covers are routed, and they have a round corner here, so you want to be sure and put the round corner on the outside edge. If you try to put them on the square corner to round, there's not enough room to put them in. So this one would go on the left, and this one on the right. So round corner to round corner, and then square to square. And below we have more storage, along with our trash receptacle. Pull-out drawer. And the louvers are where you have your ITR Oasis blower heat coming out here. So we're at the entrance door here. In the overhead above the entrance door, you've got your main control panel area for switching, for hydraulics, for leveling, for your inverter control, for your television awnings, and miscellaneous optional and exterior equipment. And we're just going to start from the top left. You'll notice a small decal in the upper left. That's the solar prep, and that solar prep is actually behind this panel. So if you wanted to connect your solar prep with solar panels, you would remove this panel here with the screws on the outside edge, and then you would connect to the solar prep wires that we have pre-run here at Newmar. This is the Girard awning control, and you can use this to control the awning. It is a panel that is the same as the remote, and we'll show you that one outside. The lights can be turned on and off here. It can be locked and unlocked here. There's in, out, and stop, and channel. So Channel 0 is both of the patio awnings together. Channel 1 is the front awning. Channel 2 is the rear patio awning. So if you want both of the Girard awnings to open and close together, leave it on 0, and then you would press in or out or stop, and then or turn the lighting on or off. If you don't want anyone to operate the awning, you can press the lock button here. To the right of our Girard awning button is our television control. It's the Winegard antenna for the over-the-air TV. When it's turned on, which is the switch in the upper left, you can see it lights up and it's scanning for channels. Now we're inside of a building, so we don't get too many channels, but it displays the number of channels that we find. If you think you didn't get enough channels found, you can press rescan or search again, and it goes through another search. And again, we're in a building, so it's probably just going to find those 3. You can make small adjustments if you're locked into a channel and you want to turn inside. Okay, so we found an extra channel. But you can make small adjustments to the left or right, and you're rotating the antenna inside the small dome here or here. If this is turned on, you will not be able to watch cable. Cable is connected outside, and if you have park cable available and you want to watch park cable, you want to turn this switch off. That allows the cable to come through to the TVs. And you still need to program cable, just like you need to program over-the-air channels on your TV, so that when you turn either one on, you'll be able to receive those channels. The panel that had the cover, we removed that. That's the Victron cover panel. And the inverter in the center is the blue. The blue is telling you what the AC loads are and what the grid is doing. If you touch the panel, it gives you either pages or menu. You can also just scroll over to the left, and it shows you that your battery is charging, what the system is in, what float it's in now, time, what the AC input is, what the loads are. So to go back, you can just flip it back. But if I wanted to go into the menu and take a look at my settings and change something in my settings, you just touch the screen, go to menu, and now I can go into my inverter settings, notifications, or other settings. Probably the one that you want to keep in mind for when you're plugged into power that's less than 50 amp or even less than 30 is you'll have to go into your inverter settings, because if your input current, let's say that you're plugged into an adapter that's only a 15 amp cord, you'll have to dial down the inverter here at your inverter settings. You'll have to dial it down to, let's say, 25 if you're into a 25 amp cord. So I can dial it down even to 15 if I was plugged into a 15 amp cord. So that would be dialing where you would dial it down. So I'm going to go back up here to 30, and we're going to show you over on the other panel that is beside me on the wall here. This one will also indicate, if you go over here to the power settings, what you're plugged into. If you go to systems, you can see here I'm only plugged in to what is showing 30 amp, but we know that we plugged this coach into a smaller cord, only 15 amps. So if that happens, you'll have to select the smaller number of amperage here to 15 up at the inverter settings. So even though it's showing 30, we will need to dial it down to 15. Okay, so the arrow to the left will get you back out of those screens, and you can go back to the pages if you'd like. Just below those panels, you've got your equipment step cover. When you press the step cover right below me, you can see that there's a step that extends that I can stand on in this area. And then I don't have to worry about the steps when I'm in the kitchen living room area here. To retract it, I can just pull it back. And jumping back up to this control here, we're going to plug the coach back into 50 amp and show you how that displays on that control. Okay, so we have plugged the coach back into our 50 amp shore cord. So if we wake up the screen here and go to menu and we go back to that inverter, we will leave it at 30. If we had dialed it down here to, let's say, 20 or 15, that's when, if we plug back into 50, we need to come back in here and hit the plus sign until we get back up to the 30 setting and leave it there. You'll notice over here on the larger touch screen, it coincides. If we hit the power, which is the lightning icon, and then go to systems, now you can see that once we plugged in our shore cord to a higher amperage, there's a blue line now that's showing, hey, you are plugged into 50 amps. And that's what we recommend, is we recommend being plugged into 50 amps. But there are times if you plug into something less than 30, the system doesn't recognize that, and that's when you have to go up into your inverter settings and dial it down to either that 15 or 20, whatever you're plugged into. Otherwise, you could trip a breaker. Okay, there is a blank switch here in the center. There's an entrance lock and unlock. Our baggage compartments lock and unlock. And there is optional equipment that could be added in this panel. The battery disconnect is for the house batteries. It's turned on currently because the light is red. If we would press this again, the batteries would be disconnected and the lights would go out. It's disconnecting the house battery. Here at the exterior lights, we have the rear security lights, driver security lights, and passenger security lights, along with our patio light and our exterior LEDs. We also have the slide outs, the driver's side slide out, extend and retract, and the passenger side slide out, extend and retract. And you always want to extend or retract with the coach on air. So whenever you get to your destination with the coach aired up on the airbags, that's when you want to operate your slides out. Then you want to come over to your HWH touchpad and you can go into auto leveling. And then you would do that in reverse when you're ready to store the slide outs. So you would start the engine, let the coach air up, retract the HWH jacks, and then while you're on the air ride suspension, you would retract the slide outs. In the event that the HWH system, whether it's the steps or one of the hydraulic slides, has faulted, you can completely reset the HWH system by pressing the master reset switch for 5 seconds. The directions are right here. You have to hold the switch for 5 seconds, pressing down, and that will reset the steps or the slides, and they should again operate because it's going through. So just above our control panel area here, we have our exhaust fan, our fantastic vent with this cover. The fan can be turned on and off with the wall panel, but in the event that you just wanted to open it manually, you could just by reaching up here and turning the handle. It will open or close. If for any reason the control panel didn't operate it and you wanted it to come on, you could reach up and just remove the fuse here and reinsert it, and then the fan will come back on. If you want to turn it off manually, just crank it back down. And it'll shut off when it closes. If for any reason it doesn't operate at all, you'd want to check that fuse and replace if needed. If you had to operate it manually or check the fuse, then you'd have to put this back on after you're finished. You want to line up these tabs with the ones here, forward and back. And then once you get them lined up, you can feel it kind of rocks because it's in the right area. Then push up, and that locks it back in place. So in the front of your coach here is a smoke detector. In the rear is a CO2 detector. The smoke detector should be tested weekly. To test it, there's a button here that you press right here. Just press it. It goes through a series of beeps. Just tells you that the battery's good. And that's the warning you would hear over and over if there was a smoke event in your coach. The batteries can be changed just by twisting it off, lowering it down, and changing the battery. Then when you're finished, and put it back on, and remember to press the test button again and make sure it works. So when you first enter the coach, if you want to turn on your ceiling lights, you can do that here. It will only turn on the ceiling lights in the living room area. If any of your lights were on in other parts of the coach and you exit the coach and you press all lights off, it actually turns all the lights off in the coach, but it only turns on the ceiling lights when you enter. All lights off and just ceiling lights on. So the air conditioner that's on the roof, front and rear, have an area here in the bedroom and in the living room that has the filters for the air to go through to keep your filtration clean. There's a set of magnets that hold this panel up, but you can reach up here and pull down to release, and now you've got access to these filters. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 filters here, and you've got 1, 2, 3 discharges where the air comes out. So weekly, if you're living in the coach, you should take your filters out, just grab a hold of the louvers and pull down, and the filter and the louver for the air intake will all come out together. So then you can take that filter, sweep it out, and wash it with warm soapy water, let it air dry, and then put it back in when it's dry, and then reinsert it. And you should do that for each of the filters in your coach, in both the front and the rear zone. And when you're finished, Just push back up and these magnets will hold these in place. So we're at the theater seating across from the TV lift. Just above the theater seating, we've got extra storage here. Just behind the theater seating, you've got your shades, your night shade and your day shade. Those are controlled right here where it says shades. And you can select all shades up, whether that be the day or the night or down. The theater seating has its own set of controls, so when you're sitting here in the seat, you can select tilt back for your seat back or forward and back. If you want to extend, and adjust slightly or retract again when you're finished watching TV. There is a USB plug here, cup holders, and a center compartment with a sliding tray with additional storage down below. Behind each theater seat is a 120 volt plug with a USB and a USB-C plug that you can plug in for an additional plug. So you've got two USBs, one USB-C here and here. Moving into the kitchen, at the dinette, we've got more storage above here, all the way across. More storage below. Pull out on both sides like this. So here at the dinette table, you can add an extension or two, but you should first pull the table towards you or out all the way, because there's an additional third leg that's got a magnet on it that you can, once the table's pulled out all the way, that leg comes down, and now we would add one or two of the extension. If you want to add two, you can do that. This one still has its cover on. And then you can use the two additional chairs on both sides for company. And when you're finished, just go in the opposite way to retract the table. So you pull the table out, remove the extra leaf extensions, and then make sure the table's pulled out all the way towards you, and then you can put the leg back up. The magnet holds it up, and then push the table back in. This is the other pull drawer on this side. So we're at the 3-door refrigerator, the stainless refrigerator, and you can see there's no handles here to open. So you reach in here at the top to open the doors. On the inside, it has a filter for the water. The filter goes in this way with the O-rings first here, and then once you push to insert, you would rotate it when it's in all the way to lock it. The locking is this way and this way, so you'll push in and rotate to lock. The freezer door at the bottom is just reached down and pulled towards you. You'll notice here that it has a spring clip that locks with this additional lock that Newmar installed. So once the doors are closed, top and bottom, if you happen to flip this over, you want to make sure and put that back so that when the door closes, it locks. But this is called a travel lock. So right now, I can open and close all 3 doors. But to lock the doors for travel, I want to move it to the left. Left is lock, right is unlock. So we lock the doors before we travel. Now I can't open the doors. They're both, all 3 are locked. To unlock, just flip it to the right. Now I can open the doors. There's a water dispenser here. Just press and hold for your water, for your cold water. To the left of the refrigerator are the pantry drawers. They are locked. I can't pull them open until I push to release. Now I can open the drawers here. They are adjustable if you want to set the height at a different level. Each one is independently adjustable. And just to the left of the small pantry door is a double pantry door with more storage for your food and larger storage drawers. Same push to release or push to unlock. And these drawers and shelves are all adjustable, so they can be moved up and down. Just above the pantry area, there's hanging closet space here. So this would be for pantry or hanging clothes, either or.
So we're going to look at the 10-inch user interface panel located near the center of the coach. If the screen is black, it means it's went to sleep. Just touch it anywhere, it'll open up. So this is the home screen. Everything you can do on this panel, you can do on the 5-inch panels, and everything that you can do on the 5-inch panels, you can do on this panel. They're laid out a little bit different, and they're a little bit easier to get to because you don't have to go through as many pages on this one. But from the home screen, you can turn on your water pump. You can activate your water fill or your top off. You can see your tank levels. You can see your house and chassis battery levels. You can also see your climate and what it's set at, and if it's on or off. You can also turn on ceiling lights all on or off here. You can do the shades, living room, day or night shades, and that'll operate all of them right here on the home screen. You can lock and unlock your cargo or your entry door locks right there. So it's just a bigger screen. You can get to more stuff on one screen, on the home screen, and then you can still go into these separate icons here and get more detailed stuff like we were going over on the 5-inch. So from the climate screen, you can select living room, bathroom, or bedroom, and you can turn on the AC or adjust the fans and the temperature in each zone separately if you wish. The Oasis, it's laid out right here on each one of them. You don't have to look for it. And then you can turn on your AC element 1 or 1 and 2 as well. Once you turn on your Oasis, the status shows over here on what's going on with it. You can also go into setup. There's a few things that's nice about setup. There's the setup information you got going on here, but there's 4 more screens here, so don't forget about those. So on this one here, you can enable stuff, your climate or your AGS or your programs, whatever you want. In the clock section, this is where you'll actually set the time of the day and the date. Then set program is going to be where you are doing day, night, or ECO. Once you go into ECO, ECO will let you adjust this here temperature difference from 5-degree difference, well, 2-degree difference, up to a 15-degree difference. So if you have your ECO on and somebody's adjusted this to 15 degrees, if you're on cooling, it's going to get 15 degrees warmer than your setting before it kicks in. If you're on heating, it's going to get 15 degrees colder than your setting before it kicks in and warms it up. So, it's supposed to be a way you can save some energy, maybe when you're not at home or whatever. Personally, I don't want my temperature to vary that much, but it is available for you to do. Set week allows you to go in and set the days of the week that you want different temperatures with your climate. Moving on to the shades screen. The shades will allow you to do the shades in an individual room, or you can use the all night or all day shade functions over here on this side. Once you go into a different room, your options change a little bit based on the room and how many shades are in there. Moving on to the fans icon. This will allow you to turn the vent fans on in the kitchen, bathroom, or half bath. Once you turn the power on, you can adjust them from high, medium, or low. It also has the rain override button on it. If there's moisture accumulated on the rain sensor and it won't power on because of that, you can hit the rain override and still power your fan on. It will not close if it's on rain override if it starts raining out. So you want to make sure that if there's rain in the forecast, you don't have your rain override switch turned on. Your floor heat will allow you to control the floor heat in the front, middle, or rear section of the coach. Once you turn the power on, you can select from high, medium, or low. You can do that for each zone individually. Once you're done, just turn them off. The power screen will be on coaches with lithium batteries. It will show you what's going on with leg 1 and leg 2 and the amperage being used there. It'll also show you if your inverters are turned on and your chargers are turned on. It gives you chassis battery voltage and house voltage, as well as the amperage and state of charge on your house batteries. Systems will do the energy management system. Right now we're plugged into 220 volt 50 amp service, so nothing is going to be shed. If we were plugged into 110 volt 30 amp or less circuit, we would want to, if we were plugged into 30 amps, it's fine. It's going to default to 30 amps, and then it's going to shed these loads according to the 30 amp available power. If you're plugged into anything less than 30 amps, you need to come in here and manually select the lower amperage, and then it will shed these loads accordingly to try to keep you from blowing the breaker. In the solar screen, if you have solar installed on the coach from the factory, this will be set up and it will show what's going on with the solar system. The generator screen will allow you to start and stop the generator right here. It will also show you the status. If it's running, it will show you the temperature and the RPMs of the generator. Will also show you if the gen slide has been activated, and if the gen slide had been activated, it would be locked out. Over here on this side, it will show you what the demand was that started the generator on automatic gen start if it started, and it will also show you the status here. If the generator's running, it will be lit up. If it's during quiet time or it's plugged into shore power and it's not letting the generator start due to shore power, it will show that as well. Over here on the power side, you have the AGS on and off and quiet time on and off. And then you can go into setup where you can set the duration for the charger, the generator to run based on it kicking on a house battery or a chassis battery. And then also you can go in and set under quiet, you can set up what your quiet times are for the RV park that you're camping in. Under the exterior, you can go in and turn on your driver or passenger security lights, or your rear security light, or your bedroom awning light. Also will allow you to lock the doors, the entry or the cargo doors, or you can lock all of them at once with the master switch. This also shows you the status of the doors on the coach, the exterior doors on the coach, and if they're open or not. Under the lighting icon, take you to the lighting page where you can select, much like on the shades, the living room, kitchen, bedroom, half bath, or the bathroom. And the lights that the available lights to turn on and off will change based on what room that you have selected. There are master ceiling lights all on and off as well, so you can use those as well to turn on or off the lights. The icon here for the sun allows you to dim this page or make it brighter. If you dim it all the way down, you just touch it again and it'll come back on, but allows you to dim the screen down. The Bluetooth icon here will walk you through the instructions on how to connect your phone or iPad, any smart device that is Bluetooth compatible. You can connect by following these instructions, downloading the Newmar app, and then pairing it. Once you do that, if you have your app open on your phone, you'll be able to control everything from your phone or your iPad, just like this panel.
So we're going to enter the half bath here. Just press the handle at the top and then open. And as we go into the right, you'll see the walk-in shower. Right now the door is locked in the travel position. If you pull this to the left, then you'll be able to lift the lever. Going down, that locks it. So this unlocks the door so you can close it. And that would be for when you're in the shower. And when you're out of the shower, you want to relock it. Just push it down and that locks it. So when you're in the shower, you'll notice that your shower comes with this Shower Miser instruction sheet. This basically tells you how you can save water that you would have in your fresh tank, and it recirculates back into the freshwater tank. So if you're dry camping and you don't want to use much water up while you're waiting for it to get warm, you can follow these instructions on the back. Basically is just turning the diverter lever to recirculate. So when we turn the water on, it's just going from our hydronic heat back into the freshwater tank until this turns a whitish opaque color. Once this turns a color, we know that the water is hot, and then we can turn the diverter back on or over to the left, which will push the water through here because now we know it's hot. And then we can either use the handheld or the overhead by making the adjustment here. This is the lever for on and then hot or cold. So if you need to refer back to that, those instructions come with your coach. To the left of our medicine cabinet, we have more storage space and cabinets here in the back with more, along with our drawers here. The toilet is a Dometic, and the way you operate it to flush it is just to the inside right. You'll notice that it's lit up. It's showing the green is the power, so we know we have power to it. And then it's got the two buttons here. These are for flushing. And if you want to flush, it's the bottom one. If you want to get more water filled into the bowl, then you would press the one at the top. Once the tank is 75% full, this small LED light below the green one will turn amber. Once the tank, the black tank or the sewage tank is completely full, that will turn from amber to red. Once that light is red, you won't be able to flush. So once you see it turn amber, you know you're at 75%. You want to start thinking about, I need to empty my black tank. There's another touch panel control here in the bathroom to operate anything in your house. Basically, this is the same function as the other panels in the coach. Just beside that, turn our lights back on. We have our temperature thermostat control for this part of the coach. This senses the temperature for whatever setting you're on for heat or cool.
Is the inner vac system. It's a central vac system, and we have a bag of accessories that come in the basement. To use them, you just come in here and remove that warning label which says make sure there's a bag in the system. Anyways, you insert your hose there and you can use the hose system. And then for this side, just simply lift it up and you can sweep the debris right in to this opening here. Once you're finished, just close it and it'll shut the system down. There's also a bag of accessories and a hose. So you have another port over here, and this port allows you to connect this hose into the port. And then this is a remote operated on-off switch for to turn the unit on and off down in the basement. So just remember two things about it. One, if it doesn't work, there's a couple of screws here that can be taken off. This can be opened up. There's a battery inside there. It's battery operated. Second thing is to remember about this is if you store this in a place that this button gets hit, it does not have to be connected to turn the system on. That's the two most important things to remember about the system. But anyway, after that, you can hit the button once, turn it on, hit it again, and turn it off. This can also be used directly in the basement from the central vac system. There's a port down there that the hose can be plugged into, and so you can sweep your cargo bays also.
We entered the rear bedroom, and it has a pocket door for privacy. To open and close, there's a small lever here that you have to press down to release and unlock. Then you can slide it closed and it relocks. So now the door is locked in place. When we're ready to travel, we want to make sure that that is open. So you press down to unlock and slide it into the travel position, and you'll hear it lock in the travel position. Over on the wall here, we have some controls that we've seen before. This touch panel is the same as the rest of the coach and can control anything that you see an icon for in any of the other panels. They're all the same. Above that, you have your off door side slide out and the door side slide out. So the door side slide out is the passenger, which is the bed one. The off door slide is the one behind me. And we'll show you how that operates right now. As long as the bed is in the lowered position, not in the lift position, we can operate this slide, which is the door side. So to operate the bed in, we have to lift the back part of the bed, and we have the switch for that here. That will give us the extra room we need here at the front. Now we can operate the slide here in. If the slide were in, obviously we just go in the opposite direction to go out. And if we were extending it out and we were ready to put the bed down, we would just go back to the same switch and press that switch in the opposite direction to put the bed back down. To operate the slide on my right, which is the full wall, or excuse me, which is the bed slide, I'd have to make sure that the bed was in. Once the bed is retracted, now I can operate the off door side slide in. Or out. That slide is hydraulic. On this side of that slide, you've got another audio-visual cabinet along with the printed publications that came with your coach, and includes all of the plumbing and heating, exterior electrical and appliance information, and those operating guides, along with the warranty registration paperwork. Inside the audio-visual cabinet, we have the same switching mechanism for the ground mount satellite or the regular satellite, the A/B switch, along with our plugs for our Blu-ray, DVD, and our satellite. Bar there at the top for our hanging clothes. This is our dryer and dryer settings. This window at this location in the bedroom is an emergency exit window. It's called an egress window. To get out, we simply put the shades up. If we go to our shade setting and hit all day and night, our shades are going to go up. Obviously, in an emergency situation, you can just lift the shade, then lift the handle, push the window out, and remove the screen by lifting the screen up to exit the coach. You can use this handle just in the extended position with the screen still installed, and that will just give you fresh air in this room. And if you want to close the window completely, just lift up, pull back, and lock. There are drawers here for more storage. More hanging closet space here. And this is your wash machine. You'll notice this has a small lift because this is where you add your soap for your dispenser for wash and fabric softener to rinse. There's a small warning here just to notice that if you're going to operate the washing machine, to make sure that the outside drain is open for the gray tank so that your gray tank doesn't fill up. You want to make sure that gate valve is open and sewer is connected so that the water that exits here will all go out the drain. So above the bed at the back, we have more storage here. There's a 120 volt outlet that you could plug into, let's say, a CPAP machine, and you can run that down through these two openings on either side if you needed to. On either side it works the same. At the nightstand there's a 120 volt outlet if you need to use that, along with USB and USB-C plugs. So at the rear of the coach here is your electrical panels. The electric panels include the 120 volt panel, the inverter sub panel, the floor heat panels, the 12 volt panel with all the fuses and spare fuses, along with the connection to your monitor panels if you wanted to use this with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth so that you can see your tank levels and operate your lighting and things via a smartphone or iPad or laptop computer. You can follow the instructions on the 10-inch panel on how to connect this to your smart device. And then, of course, to the left is your safe along with your key. Refer to your owner's manual on how to set your own key code. Here at the 120 volt panel, you've got your main switch on and off. As long as this is towards the center, it's turned on. Along with all these need to be towards the middle or center. They're all labeled what they are. Main, that has to be on for any of these to work. And then each one is labeled as you go down. Heat pads, cooktop, washer, dryer, inverter, fireplace, water heater, floor heat, engine block, floor heat, front air, trailer, and rear. If any one of these is tripped, it typically trips to the outside when it trips off. But it doesn't always trip all the way to the left. Typically, when it trips, it's only tripped about halfway, so you might not notice that it's tripped. If you see any breaker, even that's slightly off to the left on this side or slightly to the right on this side, that means it's tripped and needs to be reset. The way you do that is push it all the way to the outside and then back to the center, and it will hold in line with all the others. That means it's reset. If you flip it to the center and it won't stay, it keeps flipping back off, that means there's an issue with that appliance. So all the breakers need to be towards the center to be on. If you see that they're tripped, reset. If it won't reset, you'll have to check the appliance, have it serviced. The same goes with the sub panel. All of these named appliances, passenger side slide out, bed, bath, basement, microwave, driver's side slide, or refrigerator, these are all feeding power through the inverter, but they'll do the same thing. If the refrigerator one is flipped down, it's off, so the refrigerator is off. or it may only be slightly down and it's tripped. You need to go all the way off and then back up to reset it. This is our floor heat switch. It's the same type of switch these are, but it's just a smaller reset. It's a GFCI switch. So if our floor heat isn't working, you won't see a green LED light there. You'll have to reset it until you see the green LED. Then your floor heat will work either in zone 2 or zone 1. Zone 1 is in the front. Zone 2 is in the rear. And our 12-volt fuses here, there is one at the bottom here that is auto reset, or it's an auto reset that you have to press. So if F21, which that one is, if that one trips, it has a small center button that pops towards you. Just press it back in to reset it. If any one of these others above it trip or blow, you'll have to take that fuse out for that appliance, hold it up to the light and see if it's still connected. If it's not, you'll have to get the matching fuse size here and replace it. Here in the rear bedroom is a CO2 detector. It looks just like a smoke detector, but instead of twisting it off to check the battery, you just squeeze together. If you squeeze together, it opens up down and you can replace your battery here. Again, if you do have to replace it, you put it back in, close the cover, and then make sure you press the test button here. And make sure you hear that series of tones. And then after you hear that series of tones, you know your battery's inserted correctly and the CO2 detector is operational. So this louvered panel is the exact same as the one in the front of the coach in the living room area.
Okay, starting here on the front of the Cascadia chassis, there's a latches here to open the hood, and you can see them back in there. You grab the lever and pull down on it, and then you have to unclip the hook from the lower latch. I've already done that on the other side to make the video easier, and then come out here and just pull on this right in the center, and you can open up the hood. That accesses the coolant fill, and you can see the cold and hot full lines there. Here's your power steering fluid fill. Your engine oil dipstick is right here, and then the engine oil fill would be right here. This is your fuel filter and water separator. We'll go around to the other side and we'll look at the stuff on the other side. Here's the fill for your windshield washer fluid bottle, and your air dryer for the air system on your coach. So once you've opened the hood, there's a latch here that engages, and to lower the hood back down, you'll have to press that like that in order to lower the hood. Once the hood's lowered, you'll need to relatch the hood. You can grab this hook here and engage it in the lower portion, and then push up on the lever. Okay, here in the front, you have your turn signals and headlights on each side. You have your front camera is mounted right here. That's for the camera that we went over above the dash, where you could see all around your coach. Right in the center of the windshield in the front and right here, those are part of the Detroit Assurance package that comes with your coach for collision mitigation, lane change warnings, and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you keep this area clean of any debris and don't cover it with a license plate or anything. Once again, we mentioned about doing the light test. You can press that button on the dash. You can come out here and see all your lights operate and flash so that you know they're operational before you go on a trip. Here at the passenger door, as well as the driver door, you have power mirrors. Those are adjustable like we showed you from the driver's position on the driver door. In addition to the power mirrors, on the passenger side, there's a mirror here so that you can see the side from the driver's area. That is manually adjustable. And then moving just back from there, this would be where the flag pole holder slides into. I showed you that earlier in the kitchen cabinet. So that's where the flagpole holder goes. This would be your right-hand side camera. That would be the one that would come on when you turn your turn signal on, or when you're viewing the side of the coach. There's another one right behind the entrance door that's showing down when you're looking on the side view of the coach. There's one of those on each side as well. Moving into the first compartment here, we just have a storage area. The lighting comes on and off with the switch here. It's a magnetic switch. Next compartment back has got the HWH pump assembly in. The reservoir is right behind the pump, and this can be accessed by pulling these pins out here. And you can slide this out for easier access. And the dipstick is right here on the top of the reservoir. Anytime that you want to check that for the fluid level, you want to do that with the jacks retracted and the hydraulic slides extended. When you're done, you just want to push this back in, hold it while you put the pins back in place. For your next compartment back, the Oasis Chinook. This is the system that does your hot water, and it does the heating for the hydronic heating in the coach. For this system to work properly, this power button needs to be turned on. That will allow you to control the Oasis off of the user interface on the inside. There are several things here. There's an hour meter on top, shows you how many hours that it's been operating. There's a window here so you can see the flame when it's burning. It tells you here if you have AC power here for the heat, for the heating elements. And then it tells you a few more things along here, like if the fuel pump's operating, the combustion fan or the compressor is operating, it tells you that right there. Then down below there is igniter, flame out voltage, and low water. Those are faults that are possible. The LEDs will illuminate red if there's a fault. You can try fixing the issue if it's a voltage or low water issue. That one's pretty easy for the customer to fix. And once that's done, you can press the reset button and the system will probably come back and be operational. Any time that there's red LEDs there and you can't fix the issue, you'll need to take it for service. In addition to that, right up here on the side is a zone board, and that has several LEDs on it. If they're green, they're good. If they're red, it means that there's an issue with it. That cover can be removed, and there's some fuses underneath that panel that can be replaced if needed. In the event that you couldn't control your system from the user interface on the inside there, there is a Oasis panel here, remote panel for Oasis. You can disconnect there, connect it in over here at the silver box, and you can operate this hydronic heating system as a standalone system. Here above the compartment, we have the outside entertainment center. It has a Samsung TV and a soundbar in it. You can grab a hold on both sides and pull that. It will allow you to bring it out and twist it for better viewing. When you're finished, you want to take that, push it back against there firmly, and the magnets will catch it. The sound bar, you can use it just like the one on the inside. You can use it to listen to what's on the TV, or you can Bluetooth to it and listen to music out here. There is an additional plug here on the side, 120 volt with USB and USB-C chargers integrated. And anytime you want to lock this, there's a key. Comes with a master set of keys for this coach.
So in the compartment just beside the entrance door, we have the basement refrigerator freezer. It's on a tray that slides in and out. The on-off controls are here, temperature adjustments. And if you scan this QR code that's in here, you could go directly to the Dometic website to learn how to operate it in detail or refer to your owner's manual that's in the coach. On the right-hand side of this compartment is a lift pump which receives effluent from gray water in your kitchen, and then it pumps it out into your gray tank. This is 120 volt operated, so either you have to have your inverter turned on so that you have 120 volt power at your plugs, or you have your coach plugged in or your generator turned on for this pump to work. On the left-hand side of this compartment is our camera controls, our Trimark locking controls for the baggage doors and entrance door, along with the other wiring for the V-Bus system. At the Trimark, to program your new key code into the door after you take ownership, there's a programming button right here. And when you press that button, the system will go into a programming mode where the door handle will start a series of tones. and you'll need to enter your new 5-digit code twice, and that will be your new entrance code, master security code. Just to the back of the freezer, you'll see there's a plug with a Velcroed adapter here that's plugged in. It says do not unplug. So we want to leave this in. It's actually screwed in here, not Velcroed. And we want to leave that in because that's your AC or alternating current sensing circuit for your controls in your coach.
So here at the entry door, above the entry door, we have the patio light. Then we have the door itself here. Can be opened and closed with or without the screen. The screen can be latched to it or operated separately. To lock the door, we can manually lock it like this, and that will lock the bottom lock, which can be opened via the key fob. It can be opened via the key, or it can be opened via the touchpad here on the grab handle. The top lock that you see here is the deadbolt lock, and that one can only be locked and unlocked either manually on the inside of the coach or manually with the key on the outside of the coach. That will be the large Trimark key. The round 1141 key will be the key for the lower portion. Once again, I was saying you could lock or unlock the entry door or the cargo locks with the key fob. We'll also talk real quick here about how we can do that via the panel here. So to lock, just press and hold the number 1. It also has a lock emblem there. That locks the cargo doors and the entry door. To unlock, the factory code is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1 will unlock just the entry door. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2 will unlock the entry door and the cargo doors. The key for the outside entertainment center is the gray key. It says Global Link on it. You can put it in, lock it, put it in, unlock it.
So in the compartment right behind the entrance door, you've got your pegboard compartment. A great place for storage, for hanging tools. Here at the bottom, you've got your fresh tank drain. When you open this up, your fresh water will drain out of the tank. We would use this when we're ready to winterize. In other words, we want to empty all the fresh water out of the fresh tank. That's the handle you'd use to drain it all out and then winterize.
Right beside the entrance door is the side view camera that we talked about earlier. A half-bath window, marker light, and one of the docking lights. There's another one right behind the rear axle as well. Then we have the security light. When you're looking down beside the tire, on the back side of the tire, at the rear, that's where you'd spot your HWH jacks. And then the front one would be up underneath the front near the entrance steps for the front cab. The slide out toppers are attached to the slide out and the sidewall. So when the slide out comes out, they automatically come out with the slide out. And then the Girard awnings on the top, we talked about a little bit earlier on the inside with the remote in the overhead. There's also a handheld remote. It has the same icons and in and out channels and all that stuff as we went over in there. We can go to channel 0 and we can run both awnings out at the same time, and then we can turn the lights on and off at the same time as well. You do want to make sure that these awnings are stowed, retracted anytime that there's high winds or wind gusts in the forecast or heavy rain. If you keep your inverter turned on or the coach plugged in or the generator running to supply AC power to the awnings, there is a shake sensor on them that if the awning shakes, goes up and down enough, when it catches the wind, it will take it in. Downside is sometimes those don't work fast enough for wind gusts. So I'll try to do a simulation here for you. Once the shake sensor has been activated for whichever awning it was activated on, it will retract all the way before it can be operated again. You cannot stop it and run it back out, and the shake sensors do run independently. So we're gonna stow those awnings back up there. We're gonna turn the lights back out, and we'll move on to the next section here.
In the first compartment behind the rear wheel is our road intervac vacuum system. You can see there's a warning label on there that it says to check and make sure there's a bag inside before you start it. So this is the on-off switch here. This is where you can put your hose in, and these are the accessories that attach to the hose when it's connected, and this is just the on-off. Up and to the right is what's called a sink cylinder. The sink cylinder operates the slide on the opposite side of the coach, and these are the extend and retract solenoid valves for it. Just below that is a cover, and this is a removable film that you can take off so you can see inside. There are 4 module boards in here for all of your controls for lighting and other appliances. This slides out here. If we can release the handle here, we can slide this whole tray out. And then we can unscrew these 4. Behind are the control panels for all of your lighting circuits, and the relay control panel for the other appliances in your coach that are, for instance, like your aquamizer or your stool. Whichever light you see illuminated, that system is turned on for that LED. When the light goes out, that means that someone had been pressing a button on a panel and turned it off. So if the LED light beside the name goes off, then that light circuit or that appliance is off. You'll be able to see them clearly once you remove this film, and even though it's put back on. In our last door in the rear on the passenger side is our slide tray, and we have our spare floor tile that are the same lot number as what's in the coach, so that they'll match in the color if you ever need to replace a tile. We have our hitch accessories here. And we have additional 120 volt plugs on the back wall. The 2 white boxes are the Girard controls, and there is 3 small buttons on each one at the bottom that you can open and close the Girard awnings manually if the overhead panel or the remote controls don't work. You can come out here and actually control the awnings open and closed right there. The red illuminated module board on the left and the back is the bedroom slide controller. There is a pull handle here which opens the rear storage compartment. You want to make sure before you pull this, there's nothing behind the coach or anyone standing behind, because it springs out. So when you pull it, it will automatically come out. There is a light switch right above that. You can turn the lights on and off. And this compartment that opens is just an area for storage. So when you're done in this compartment, you'll firmly close it on both sides.
So you have the brake lights, reverse lights, your back lights, third brake light, your rear camera. That's the camera that shows you the back here and what you're towing. Also shows you rear portion of that 360 view as well. And then there's a rear security light there.
So in our last compartment in the back on the driver's side is our water bay compartment.
There's a number of things that can be done in this compartment. We'll start here with the whole house filter. It comes not installed from the factory. To install it, you need to remove this locking tab, turn this clockwise here. You can open it up, remove the plastic from the filter, put the filter down in there. There's a tab down in there it sets on, as well as a tab up here that it goes on. You line those up and then tighten the filter housing back up. Once you have it nice and tight, you can reinstall the locking tab. Once the filter's installed, you're ready to pull out your hose here. It's manual operation to pull it out. You stow it in the hatch there. Remove this end here, this cap here, and then you can connect this to your potable water supply. So once you have that connected to potable water supply, it says right here not more than 60 psi. If you're at one that's more than 60 psi, you can buy a pressure reducer and put in front of the hose there for that. We have our hot and cold low point drains. So anytime that you're wanting to use water in the system, you want to make sure these are closed. When you get ready to winterize, you'd want to open these up, open the faucets up inside, let the water drain out as much as possible before you do the winterizing process outlined over here, and we'll get to that in a minute. But then once you're done, you'd want to close these back up before you ran antifreeze through the system. This is an outside shower. You can take that off, single handle, just the on off and the temperature there, and allows you to rinse off your hands or any equipment in here you'd want to rinse off after hooking up your hose or your sewer hose, either one. Okay, we'll touch on dumping the black tank. So to dump the tanks, you would remove this cap here, connect your 4-inch hose, run your 4-inch hose to your sewer dump station, and then you would open your black tank valve. You would put it to open, and you would let your black tank empty. Once your black tank was empty, you would go ahead, if you wanted to rinse your black tank, you would go ahead and hook up a water hose at that time to your black tank rinse here. While that was open, that would allow water to spray in your tank and flush out anything in your black tank. Once you're finished rinsing your black tank, you would disconnect your hose there. You would open the black tank rinse port there, and that would take off any pressure that would be on that line. Then you'd disconnect your hose, put your cap back on. You'd go ahead then at that time and turn off your black tank valve. Then you would open your gray tank valve. Once your gray tank was empty, you would close it and go ahead and disconnect your sewer hose. And most dump stations have a non-potable water source at the dump station, so you can rinse out your hose. So take that, rinse out your hose, and then store it in the storage compartment above the driver's side fender there that we showed you a few minutes ago. In the event that your black or gray tank valves were not operating, there is a little breaker right here that if that pops, you can reset it and hopefully get it working again. Below that is your fresh water selector, and so you can turn it all the way down here to this position. It says manual tank fill and auto override. So in this position, it will manually fill the tank, and you can either watch the level of it on one of your monitor panels, like here or inside the coach, to see when it's full. If you allow it to stay on this too long, it will overflow the tank and you'll start seeing water pour out underneath the coach. At that time, you'd want to turn the valve to city or the city and autofill position, whichever one you choose. So the city supply position will allow the city water to come in, go through the filter, go into the coach, but it will not allow the auto tank fill to operate, even if you have it selected here on the panel. And then the third position would be your auto tank fill and auto city supply. This is what most people are going to use when they are connected to their potable water source. It allows them to use water from the potable water source the whole time they're camping, and it allows them to go into their user interface and either hit top off or autofill. Either one of those, autofill will keep the tank filled to the at least about the 90% stage. Once it comes on, I think it lets it get down to about 50% before it kicks in, and then it fills it up. Anyways, then that also allows them to use water from the potable water source or their fresh tank as well, and keep it full. This panel here is the water bay user interface. It'll go dark. You can just touch it, it'll come on. There is, just like the other panels, there's like a sun button here that allows it to dim the panel. Out here on this particular one, you're a little more limited than you are on the inside of the coach. So there's just 3 icons out here, so you can do your tanks, you can view your tank levels, you can turn on your water pump, turn on your autofill, or turn on your top off. You can also view the power screen. The power screen lets you turn your generator on and off from this location, or you can view your voltages for your chassis and house batteries, and the percentage of charge for your house batteries. And then the exterior button at this panel will allow you to turn on the exterior driver or passenger security light. Over on this side, we have a hose and a series of valves here. This is the winterizing connection, and here are the instructions on how to use it, along with some cautions and warnings there as well. But you would take this hose clamp loose and take this plug out, put this down into your potable antifreeze, open this valve and turn this valve off, and turn the water pump on once you've drained them down, like I explained earlier, for the low point drains there. Once you did that, you would turn your water pump on, suck the antifreeze up through here, and that would push it through the whole house filter here and any of the faucets, toilets, anything. You have to manually operate those, though, to make sure that the antifreeze flows at every location, every faucet location, washer machine, dishwasher, everything that uses water. You need to make sure it gets winterized. And one side note, before you do that, you want to remove this filter as well as the filter in the refrigerator so that you didn't contaminate those with the potable antifreeze. Once you had pink antifreeze coming out of each faucet and you've ran enough out of the faucet to winterize the drain, you would come out and close these valves and open this one and put your plug back in your clear hose, and that would be your winterizing process. There is a couple of cautions and warnings here for your aquamizer, and not to have that in the recycle mode because you'll just run that fluid into your fresh tank. Once you're done in here and you're ready to store your water hose, you can come in here and disconnect it from the slot there, and you can use the power switch here to retract it. Put your cap back on, keep any debris from getting in your freshwater hose. Store all your components back in there, and you'd be done in this compartment.
Our next door forward is our storage compartment. We have our docking lights here. Below that is a storage compartment for the sewer hose. In our next compartment forward is our own-end generator. This is a diesel generator. It will only operate if we have a quarter tank of fuel in our main fuel tank. The pickup line for this generator only goes down inside that main fuel tank to the quarter level. That's just a safety way that Newmar builds in so that the generator won't use up all your fuel, and then you'll be stuck wherever you're at without fuel to drive your coach to a filling station. So if for some reason your generator is not starting or running, make sure you have more than a quarter tank of diesel fuel. The on-off or start switch is here. If you want to do it from the outside, you can. Start it. It's priming and preheating now. And then to stop is press down. This supplies your same type of energy or power, 120 volt, into the coach for all of your appliance needs, as long as this breaker is turned up or on. If for some reason this is down, the generator could be running, but you won't have power in the house. So if you don't have power in the house, reset this breaker if needed. If it's tripped down or off, just turn it back on and you should have power. And more storage in this compartment. And our cord reel is in this compartment, along with the inverter. This panel is for the fuse cover in the back, and it gives you the readout of each fuse and what amperage it is and what it goes to on each one. And those are the fuse panels in the back, and this is the cover that slides in, and the Velcro holds it in place. So just above the cord reel, which is operated with the switch that's on the door to close, you'll notice a small handle to turn off the cold water supply to the refrigerator. That would be off, and this is on. There's another plug that you can put in here for additional power. The transfer switch is here. There are two red lights on. When it's plugged into power, that means line 1 and line 2 are plugged in. If those two red lights are blinking, that means there's a fault of some kind with the transfer switch. There's a power monitor here which tells you the power that's coming in, whether it's coming in on the gray line, which is generator, or the black line here, which is the shore cord. It's always going to read out what power is coming in from either one. And the generator is the priority. So when the generator is running, the power that goes through the transfer switch chooses the generator to power up the inside of your coach. When the generator is off, then it chooses the shore cord for supply power. But either way, it's displayed here, and you can scroll up or down on the screen to different places to see what the active line 1 and line 2 are doing, and it shows you real-time voltage on each line. Just below that, we have our cable, satellite 1 and satellite 2 exterior connection points. So if you had satellite here or here, you could connect there. Cable connection would be here. And of course, the inverter here is a switch for on. If I press the switch to the center position, it turns off. And let's say that I'm putting the coach in storage, but I want the inverter just to charge the batteries, then I would put it in the lower charge only position. So that's just charging only. Typically, I'd want to leave it in the on position at all times while I'm using the coach. Our next compartment forward is our battery tray. This battery tray can be slid out for service just by removing the locking pins on both sides. And then the whole tray just slides out this way. So that you can service the batteries, whatever needs to be done, clean. When you're finished, just slide them back in. If you ended up changing any battery or all the batteries, the schematic for correct wiring, in case you may have forgot how it was wired, the schematic is right here. Our next compartment forward is our chassis battery and cover. This can be lifted up to remove. And this is the tank for the fuel. Then we'll see that when we open the next compartment. And there's our tank fuel fill right here. Our hot water outlet there. Our auxiliary air for cockpit chairs. Pump switch is right here. If we need to use that for auxiliary air, that turns the pump on. And then we have our air fittings. So on the right-hand side here, you'll see the ITR Oasis hydronic filter there. That's for your heating system in your coach, for hot water and for forced air heating. And this is the overflow bottle that you'll need to keep filled right here at the cap at the top with Century antifreeze or boiler antifreeze. In this compartment, you have your DEF fill. Twist off, fill, and replace.
The door here beside the seat is the chassis battery disconnect. So right now it's on, and that will allow the coach to start, supply power up to the ignition and all the gauges and infotainment center and stuff. Once you turn this off, disconnects the power up there, saves power in the chassis batteries, and will not allow the engine to be started. Okay, we mentioned before a little bit about slide out operation. Once again, we recommend you pull up to your campsite while you're on Aire ride suspension. We recommend that you operate your slide out, but we recommend that you come out and look at this gap along this side here. Just make sure that nothing's shifted and nothing's touching, nothing's went out of place. And so as long as this gap is fairly even, front and back, you're good to go. Go ahead, while you're on Aire ride, run your slide out room out. And once it's extended, then go ahead and do your hydraulic leveling system. When you get ready to retract it, make sure there's nothing that's got underneath the slide out cover or been leaned up against your coach or anything like that that would interfere with this coming back in, getting pinched in the slide out. And you would go ahead and retract your HWH jacks. You would start your engine up, air the system up. Once the system is aired up and pops off, then your travel ride height would be the time to run your slide out in at that time. Hopefully you enjoyed this walkthrough today, and we'll see you on the next one.